Yeah, we're really thrilled. Thanks so much to Netflix for allowing us the opportunity to show this on the big screen, and thank you for your warmth and generosity after. It's lovely to hear that response when we come into the room. I'm slightly out of breath because I'm slightly giddy in the fact that we have these people here to talk to us, and we're so thrilled, so please put your hands together and welcome Will, Harper and Rafael. With your name on it.
Did you get me this?
Yeah, we did.
That's nice.
Merry Christmas, you know. There we go.
People here.
Got a little beer cooler with your name on it. We thought that might be nice.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
Yeah. Hi guys.
Hi.
How are you?
Hello
Thanks
everyone.
so much for being
Hi.
here.
Thanks for coming. Oh my gosh. What a swanky
I know,
theater.
we don't have cool theaters in Los Angeles. I thought we were the coolest. This is
like-
a great theater.
Well, just come back whenever you want now, you know. This is the place to be. Congratulations on this absolutely wonderful, wonderful film, and it's such a treat, as I was saying, to get the chance to show it on the big screen. What were you expecting the response to be from the film, and what has the response been? Harper, can I start with you, please?
Well, I'm a comedy writer, and I'm very used to bombing. No, we went to Sundance, and I think Will and I both, probably our background is very uncertain with anything we put out in the world. So I think when it did really surprisingly well at Sundance, I personally was a little shocked, and but it was beautiful. It was a little overwhelming. It was because you don't know you don't know. Yeah, you just don't know how these things are going to be received at all.
Yeah, I mean, you spend 17 days in a car and you drive across the country and you amuse yourself for 6 hours, wondering if anyone else will think it's entertaining or insightful or funny. And 250 hours of footage. And we both, that day at the beach in Santa Monica, we all said that's a wrap and said goodbye to each other, and Harper and I turned to each other and said, well, I hope there's a movie there. So we really didn't have any idea. So when we finally started seeing it with audiences and seeing the reaction and listening to the laughter and the silence and the contemplation, it's been incredible.
Did you just hand it? Did you just kind of give it up to Josh then, in terms of directing it to kind of, it's yours now? Do what you do with it.
Yeah, we weren't in the edit room at all.
No.
I think that would have been impossible for us because it's just not a process we understand. 250 hours of footage. What do you do with it?
Yeah.
Right.
Rafael, what do you do with 250 hours of footage?
Well, you take about 7 months to get it down first to, I think, our first cut. Yeah.
Which is fast, actually, right?
Oh yeah,
But, yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think our first cut was like 5+ hours, which
I want to see that.
was actually, I mean,
I do too.
we were kind of like, wow, it actually, it plays, it really works. And then just, kind of whittling it down once we realized just the concept was really working. Then getting it down to 3 hours, 2 hours, 20 minutes, I think is, when you guys saw
First
it.
saw it. Right.
Yeah, and I think your note was, don't change anything. And we're like, well, we gotta get it
I wanted some cuts. All vanity. So like they look terrible.
One of the things actually that when I had the pleasure of chatting to Josh was talking about music, and because I said to him, I was like, every road trip you make a playlist or you have the radio on sort of thing, but because you guys were filming, you couldn't. But he said what the great thing about that was, it kind of, not that you were going to have trouble talking, but because there was no music, it almost encouraged more conversation in a way. But was it slightly weird not having kind of music to kind of turn to or switch on or?
Completely weird for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have music going half the time probably that I'm crossing the country. So yeah, it was strange. We started the day a few times playing music, just sort of playing a few songs, but I do agree that cutting the music out sort of, it does force the conversation. And then what happens with Will and I is it's not really a conversation. It's like, well, what are we going to do? Well, I guess I'll make you laugh. And then it just goes back and forth until occasionally we ask something serious.
There were a lot of made-up songs.
Yeah. We did sing a
ourselves.
lot.
Yeah, we sang a lot to each other. And I brought a harmonica with me and played it on occasion.
You're welcome that you're not.
Funny you should open that
I'm
present
a
up.
very good. Oh,
I want to open one of these beers.
You can
but I
open.
feel
Yeah,
like
please
they-
do. There's an opener in front.
Oh, there we go. That's
Yeah.
perfect. This is like a-
I will just say quickly that harmonica scene was like one of the hardest things for us to cut because it was like it made us cry laughing. How funny! And the harmonica came out a lot throughout the trip.
liberal application.
And Harper would review Will's playing of the harmonica, and it was very funny.
Why don't we have like Will and Harper, the soundtrack, the harmonica soundtrack? It could be a kind of like
No,
Bowman.
I'm telling you, I do not want to hear any of this.
Edith, you're so on the right track. Yes, we need this.
Did you have any input into the music that was put on the film? Because there's such a beautiful, mix from like that Eddie Howard track, to the Bon Iver track and kind of everything in between. That fantastic Elton John piece, Amarina, which is great for day one. Were you involved in that?
Yes, Josh. I sent Josh sort of my favorites, and then I think a few of them are in the film, but I think he just sort of took it from there that this is the kind of music I like. So, but Rob can actually speak to the kind of miracle of the music, I think, because, I've worked in entertainment for 27 years, and for the kinds of projects that I do or Will does, getting that music is almost impossible. That's a lot of the songs. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was one. I think there's 19 tracks in the movie, and these were all the ones that we had kind of placed in there originally, and I think this is the first time, and I've probably done 15 plus documentaries, and it was the only time ever that we cleared every single track in the movie, including the Bon Iver track that you mentioned. That was one that we were told that we were told he's never cleared it. Like everyone has tried to get it. We, it showed it to a couple music supervisors, and the first note was, okay, you can lose Bon Iver. I've tried to get it many, many times. He never gives it. And we showed him the scene, and I don't think he even saw the whole movie. I think he just saw the scene and immediately said, it'd be my pleasure, you guys. I'd love for you to use it.
It's a great example of the kind of power that music can have in a situation. It's like a friend at that moment in the film.
Oh yeah.
It's so powerful. Harper, do you have, when you're talking about music that you would play when you'd go on your trips, do you have music that you play around certain places? Like if you're visiting certain states or places, have you got your kind of go-tos for things, or is it just random in the way that you would pick the music you'd listen to?
It's pretty random based on mood. I will say that when I get to the Southwest, when I get to Oklahoma, when I get to Texas, I love country music. So I pretty much have country music on sort of all the time. But if you're, especially night, jazz, soul, whatever, I just like driving the music.
And I don't know if you could tell from the beginning of the movie when we're in Harper's house, but she has thousands and thousands of records. She has like one of the most extensive, expansive music collections I've ever seen.
Slightly sad that was your first karaoke experience. I couldn't believe that.
I am a music listener.
Well, not your first rodeo in the karaoke, surely.
No, in fact, there is a a stirring rendition I sing that night of Tom Jones's "She's a Lady."
Whoa.
That I serenade Harper with. Didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
Was in the cut for a long
Was
time.
in the cut for a long time. So yeah, I had that crowd in the palm of my hand.
What did
Right?
you?
No. Maybe, I don't know.
How much was planned? You know, in terms of kind of the places that you'd go and the places within those places. Did you was there a lot of planning in it? Because you know, it feels like so organic and natural in terms of, oh, let's just go here, something. But how much planning went into it in terms of where you'd go and?
You know, obviously the route was curated between Josh and Harper, having driven the country so many times. You know, she had a say in kind of what would be a great way to go, and we knew we wanted to see her sister in Iowa City,
Yeah.
and we knew one of the things we wanted to do was go to an NBA basketball game, and so that worked out to do that in Indiana. So, but then when we visited Dana in Pekin, I don't think we knew we were going to go to her bar that night to go karaoke. So we'd have kind of some set destinations, but we had the flexibility within that to change in a moment's course. And that's it's really interesting because that's the irony of the scene in the Texas Steakhouse, because we almost, it was kind of towards the end of the day, we were like, do we want to do, we had shot a lot that day.
Yeah.
And we were like, we could take it or leave it, and it was Harper and I were like, no, this will be fun. Let's go to this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so it was a combination of definitely a planned route because we just had to logistically, but we were able to peel off and go to places.
That scene is there's those two scenes, and I remember speaking to Josh about them in quite detail. When you go into the bar on your own, Harper, and there's almost an expecting sort of response that you're expecting when you go in, and you're surprised by how wonderful everybody is, and then the steakhouse is just kind of this hell, you know. It's just and it must have been interesting for you, Will, as well, because I think one of the things that the film throws up as well was about kind of celebrity as well, you know, in terms of how the outside world can react to celebrity and what that can almost bring out in people as well. But I imagine whilst you're in that, you're not really, or were you kind of aware of that as you were going through that experience?
Specific to the steakhouse itself, yes. I mean, it's usually an advantage to walk in somewhere, and people, thankfully, are usually very sweet to me and want to say hello and want to take pictures and this, that, and the other. And so, but this time, that spotlight now not only turned on me, but turned on her in a way that felt, it just felt slightly foreboding, and the walls were kind of closing in on us, and it just felt very, very uncomfortable, and like I said, surprising to us, because we thought it was just going. It would have been a place we would have stopped at if we didn't have cameras with us. We would, as a goof, we would have been like, let's go see if I can eat a big steak in an hour and a half, and get it for free. Which, by the way, it's a lie. You've got to eat a baked potato, 2 really gross shrimps, and like a old piece of broccoli. So it's not just the steak. I'm just letting you guys know. But yeah, the tables, the room kind of turned, and it felt strange. But all of a sudden, I felt, at least on some level, the moments that Harper has to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. Harper, was there anything that you weren't able to, a place that you weren't able to visit, or something that you really wanted to do on the road trip?
No, I mean, again, this is not a typical trans experience in America. I'm crossing with a camera crew, and I'm crossing with B-rate celebrities.
B as in like best?
Yeah. And so you're like, everything feels safer. I mean, I've been back and forth by myself, and I'm not going into that bar at night, as should no woman go into that bar at night alone. I mean, that would be stupid, I think. And so yeah, I'm a little more aware of my surroundings, and I'm a little safer than what that documentary is. But that documentary was also about us talking to each other and pushing ourselves into those places so that we could talk to those people. But yeah, everyone has to navigate that on their own terms.
Well, I think that that's one of the wonderful things that the life the film has, outside of the film, is that encouraging other people to have those conversations that you both had on that journey, and the understanding and the conversations that other people have, and being honest with each other as well. Because I imagine that that's kind of, how aware were you of the cameras? Did there become a point where you kind of forgot that you were being filmed, or was it always just kind of, I don't know? Did you ever feel?
Josh told us before we even started shooting that when he's shot documentaries, and he's done 7, I think. He said that on day 2 or 3 you would forget the cameras are there, and it literally happened. Obviously you're aware that there are people walking around holding cameras, but they're just gone. They're in the background, and you don't think about them after a while.
It's that wonderful thing as well of how almost the I guess the supporting cast, so to speak, as well, of them not kind of almost feeling like, when you're in a diner and the waitress kind of thing, she's not reacting to the camera. That's brilliant. So even you get the feeling as well that he's working so well that
they were very much hidden as much as they could be, and I think very aware of not getting in the way of anything.
And I mean, let's face it, we all have a camera on our phone now, so we all have a certain level of being sort of used to being observed, and so I think the cameras would disappear that much more quickly, in a way.
Harper, what was the most important part of this road trip for you?
Well, getting to know Will. I've known Will for 28 years now, something like that. And we've had lots of serious conversations, and we've been friends that whole time. But when you transition, you're asking something of your friends. You're asking them to see you the way you want to be seen. And it goes the other way too. What do I get to learn about my friend Will? And I think that level of friendship I have with other friends too, but it's just, to me, that process was just beautiful. I watched it sort of play out over the 16 days, and yeah, I just feel very fortunate. I'm pretty sure Will doesn't feel the same way, but
I almost feel the same way.
Okay, good. No, I think that's for me sort of the biggest takeaway. Just what it means to have that kind of allyship, and the kind of work that has to go into it, and Will was willing to do it.
What was your favourite Saturday Night Live sketch that you worked on together?
It's funny because the irony is we didn't do a ton together.
Well, we did a lot of
cold opens.
A lot of
we did a lot of George Bush stuff.
Yeah. But Robert Goulet, I think I loved writing Robert Goulet because I played him as an idiot, and Will does really good. You do. I mean, you're the best.
Is there a Bush cold open that you can remember?
I love the one that you did with Dana, where you go hunting with your father. Dana's playing Herbert Walker.
Yep.
And you're just really anxious to kill an animal.
And I kept rattling the antler.
Yeah. I like that one, but yeah, there was a lot of bushes.
Well, is there all this footage that isn't in the film? Are there plans for it? Because there's a huge opportunity for DVD extras. We want a sequel. Are there plans? Is there a conversation about it?
I mean, there's been conversations about it. I don't know if there's actual plans. I mean, when we were making the movie and we were on the road and we were in a car, I mean, there was a couple of cars kind of following, their car, and we were listening to them, 6 to 7 hours a day, just talking and having deep conversations, doing these insane bits, making us laugh and cry and etc. It was like, oh, we've got to make this into a series. Like, there's no way this can just be a movie now. This was like day 4 or 5, so we still had 10 plus days to go, and we were like, God, there's already so much. How are we gonna ever get it all in there? So there was a lot of talk about that. Then obviously we realized that film was going to be the best version of this.
Does anyone like doc series? I hate them. If every new episode they recap the one before, it's just frustrating. I need my 90-minute doc. I'm an old person.
That's why we did it.
Previously on Will and Harper. You want one of those? I think I would watch. I would definitely want to see that 5.5 hour cut for sure. I mean, that's. We talk.
It definitely plays.
Yeah, Kristen song, which is just.
Brilliant.
Oh, it's yeah. When did you get it? In terms of.
We were kind of kept in the dark. I don't know if we actually had given up hope that she was ever going to do anything.
I did. I asked Josh
Yeah.
over the summer. I would say, did Kristen do the song? Nope.
Yeah. So we just assumed, okay, that'll just be a funny kind of gag throughout the film, and nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
And then Josh called us and said, I want to screen the movie for you one last time. I made some tweaks here and there, and surprised us.
Oh my God.
And yeah, just wonderful to get to see what she did.
I'm really looking forward to her performing that at the Oscars.
Absolutely.
We are too.
We are too. Yeah.
Anybody in the room who's an AMPAS member, you know what you need to do. Basically, to make that happen. How amazing would that be? Because from seeing the film, it's one of a few films that everybody I speak to, I was like, you have to watch this film. It's so entertaining, it's so beautiful, it's so honest. I learned so much about it. I learned about how to have conversations with people, be more honest with people, ask the right questions. And I don't know if you kind of have allowed yourself the luxury to acknowledge that and be grateful that the film does have this life and this wonderful gift that it's given the world from when you released it. Have you felt that?
Without a doubt. Oh my gosh.
Slightly. I do feel like the conversation I love the most is a parent will come up to me or a child will come up to me and say, I watched this with my parent or vice versa, and it's the best conversation we've ever had. And to me, that's the whole point of the film. And so people have said that to me. So if that's the impact, then thank you. And then it worked, and yeah, that's all you can ask.
Go on, Will. Sorry, you were going to say something.
It wasn't going to be as good as that. So
Give it a try.
this one guy came up to me
Oh no.
and said he really liked it.
Okay.
I told you it wasn't going to be as good.
You're right. I'm sorry.
I hope you just give me the luxury for 2 minutes, Will, if you don't mind, because it is December here in the UK, and I know that a lot of people like me allow themselves to start celebrating Christmas by traditionally watching Elf. It's the key to Christmas for me. I'm not sure if anyone else in the room. There we go.
All right.
That film, Will, it's excuse my language, I'm Scottish, so I get away with it. It's so fucking brilliant. And every year I watch it, and also it's not just for Christmas. It's such a brilliant film, and it's one of those ones I will be watching for years to come, and I love watching it with my kids, and we quote it all the time as well. Do you have any idea when you were making that film that it was going to resonate and have this ability to...
Yes, I did.
No, we were
I
at
knew
a bar in New York, and you said, I spent the day walking through the Holland Tunnel, and I think this film is not going to work. I remember.
No, I was very. There were moments where I just in my little tiny trailer, you know, waiting for someone to knock on my door, sitting in my elf costume, looking at myself in the mirror going, oh, buddy, what'd you do? What'd you do here? This could be the end.
That's what you said. You said
But I
it
really-
might be the end of my career.
Yeah,
No
because
way.
I didn't, I'd coming off Saturday Night Live where I, for the most part, had done pretty much PG-13 adult humor and not necessarily family stuff for the most part. And yeah, I had no gauge on where it was going to land, how it was going to, where it was going to fit. But, you know, similar to this, you know,
Yeah.
when you don't have an idea, maybe that's a good sign. But as I got into the film, you know, so all I had to do was just commit to that character
Yeah.
and believe that, you know, I was this guy who had grown up in the North Pole. But no, I
Method acting. you're talking.
literally had no idea.
I've got my More Cowbell t-shirt on, by the way.
Gosh.
Yeah.
You owe me 17 quid.
Blue oyster. Yeah, we're going to need more cowbell, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us tonight about your wonderful film, and I really hope that you give us more. I want the second road trip. Maybe you could do a European road trip.
We'd be short. It's not very big over here.
But thank you and congratulations on a really beautiful film. Just be careful on the way out, Will, because Elf is actually showing at the
Okay. The next one
screen,
over.
which was booked in before you guys were, so it wasn't like we did it on purpose. It was
Right.
already happening. Merry
Sure.
Christmas. I hope you like your presents.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you so
And
much.
Yes.
thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you
Huge
for having
huge
me.
round of applause.
Thanks for having me.